Just because you go to the range and you shoot, it doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. Quality shooting skills start with a strong foundation of training. They talk about having bad habits. Bad habits are hard to break. When you start shooting and you don't have the training right from the beginning, you may be learning bad habits. And for me, I did learn a lot of bad habits. I started shooting for fun initially, so I really didn't know what I was doing. I was using a friend's firearm and we would just go shooting. And he never had formal training either, but he always grew up with firearms since he was a little kid. So it was more natural for him to go out and shoot. And for me, I had the opposite experience. I started learning how to shoot in my adult life, and I learned a lot of bad habits that I had to unlearn. Your partner is not the right firearms instructor for you, and then learn the right way. And that was through the decision I made to get training. I knew that I wanted to take it seriously, and I wanted to make sure that I was moving about with other people in my community, in my neighborhood, with experience, with training and skills, rather than just owning a firearm and going out shooting and not really knowing what I'm doing. Just because you go to the range and you shoot, it doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. Good shooting skills start with a strong training foundation. As a new gun owner, I've done a lot of research on how I want to be trained and what type of trainer would be best suited for me. And that is based upon how I will be using that firearm. Side note, if you've not watched this video here, I talk about the things that you should consider when selecting your first firearm. There are different styles, personality types that you want to consider, and doing your research online to identify that person is important in the very, very beginning. And I looked to social media to find that person, referrals, testimonials from other people, to narrow down on instructors that I can kind of dig a little bit deeper into, and see how they worked with their student. If you might be one that might be a little bit more sensitive or might need a little bit more hand holding, take that personality style, that trainer, into consideration. There are plenty of instructors out there that are available to you for in-person or virtual. In-person is the way to go. You get to ask questions about the firearm, and they can show you and point to it rather than having it up on a monitor and showing this is what it does. And you can't feel it and grip it. If you have no other option but virtual, do that until an in-person opportunity becomes available. Quality training of any kind is better than no training at all. Another point to consider is, what is your learning style? Do you prefer that one-on-one instructor-student training, or is a small group setting okay? They also have training for women only, kids only, seniors only. So asking those questions of that instructor is important to see what types of learning style options might be available to you. Another thing to consider that is huge, I've heard a lot of grumbles about this one, and it's experience. It's not enough that you have law enforcement experience. See, I can't even get it out because it's such a thing. It's not enough that you have military experience. We're always a student. So the trainer, you have your certificate. You may have multiple certificates in different things, but how old is that? So how long ago did that instructor have that certificate and go through that class to get qualified? And do they practice continuously? I mean, that's their job. That may be their main job, it might be their side job, but no matter, if they're wanting to train and if I want to work with them, I'm gonna be asking them these questions, like, when was the last time you trained? How do you stay fresh? How do you stay current? If there's pushback to that, oh, it's been a couple years, or I go out, you know, I think the last one up was like 6 months ago, I'm gonna be looking at them with the side eye, right? That's not the instructor that you want to have. I'm sorry. As a new gun owner, I'm looking at someone who continuously trains, because that's what I'm expecting myself to do, continuously train. So I want to follow someone who is also doing that. I'm going to listen to that person who is, you know, walking the talk. Yes. Don't stick to one firearms instructor. You want to have a variety of training styles that you can pick up different tips. Not every trainer is alike, and some trainers have different preferences and strengths and certain types of skills. So we don't know everything. Those trainers, those instructors, or I use that term interchangeably, those instructors don't know everything, and they're not strong in everything. We're not superhumans. So switching it up gives you an opportunity to learn new skills and sharpen skills when you work with different instructors. One underestimated point to consider when selecting the right instructor is the training fees. We can do the dry fire testing at home, and there are plenty of kits out there that you can choose from, and you can go to the range and do indoor, outdoor, all of that stuff. But continuous training with an instructor, whatever your frequency might be, is still critical. We get rusty and we forget certain skills and tips that we learn working with an instructor. You know, do you record yourself training? Do you see how you hold your firearm, your stance, your arm, your wrist, your finger, all of those things? You can do all of that at home, which I highly recommend to record yourself. But in between those times, you know, dedicate, if it's annually, semi-annually, investing in instructor sessions with you, with someone in your household. If they have a firearm, that's a great birthday present, Christmas present, right? It's a nice gift to give to someone who hasn't been trained, who hasn't gone training in a really long time, and you're looking for something unique. Honestly, that's huge, because we forget things along the way, and we want to keep ourselves sharp in those situations where we really need to make sure that we will be able to defend ourselves. And as we are learning on our own, there might be things along the way that can help sharpen that particular skill that an instructor will help you to do. In the comments section below, tell me how important you believe it is to have formal training by a certified firearms instructor. Thanks for watching.
When the gun comes out, your elbow that's pointed back will immediately come and begin pointing at the ground, and that will raise the gun level-ish with your target.
Right.
At this point, you can start building your grip. So as soon as the holster comes out, you can start building your grip nice and close to your body. This is especially defensively, you want to do this, because there's no guarantee that Mr. Bad Guy is going to be 10 yards out.
Sure.
Mr. Bad Guy might be right here. As soon as it comes out, you may have to start taking those shots.